Prime Directive forbids us to interfere with the social order of any planet.
Well, it's your Prime Directive, not mine.
Today we're going to be looking at the new Pre-FTL rework to Pre-FTL civilizations, the new observation events, the new awareness level, a whole host of new things, new diplomatic pacts and interactions, new Galactic Community resolutions. It's absolutely massive, so stick around for all of that. There is one thing I want to start with before we go any further into this dev diary. Actually, there's two things. The first thing is this dev diary completely shatters my previous scheduling for when this DLC will release. There are still at least three dev diaries ahead of the final release, I believe, and this means we might not actually be getting Stellaris First Contact until the end of February or early March. So I do want to put that right at the beginning here. Having this dev diary which does not focus on an origin or cloaking means we still have 3 more at least in the works and on the way. The other thing that I really want to mention is that I'm going to be doing a 24-hour long live stream, which will be exclusively live. The video will not be remaining up after the stream is done, to celebrate 100,000 subscribers. That should be coming anytime soon. I will be live, or I intend to be live, as we roll over that 100,000 mark. So if you haven't subscribed yet to the channel, please do go and subscribe and then come and join me. I'll try and make sure to put a link to that live stream down in the description of this video. But together, let's celebrate 100k in, I think, just over 2 years on Montu Plays. It's amazing. Sorry, I don't want to take too much of your time. This is a video about Stellaris First Contact. Let's dive in and find out what's going on. First up, we have a section by PDS Bojj, one of the newest content designers. Though I must admit, Paradox is a Swedish company, so this could be PDS Bojj or something along those lines. Entirely too difficult actually for me to determine. But we're going to hear a lot now about the pre-FTL observation events. So PDS Bojj is a new content designer on Stellaris, and jumping in to talk about the new observation events that we're going to be getting in First Contact. The new story pack introduces a whole bunch of new events for those who build observation posts in orbit of pre-FTL worlds. These events give you the opportunity to gather research on pre-spacefaring civilizations in various technological ages, and, if it takes your fancy, interfere with the development of their society. Your empire's ethics will affect the type of events you can be presented with, along with the choices you will face when dealing with the inhabitants of these worlds. There are a variety of rewards to gain from studying the pre-FTLs, including the brand new tech insights that we did have a look at last week. Those insights, so far what we know is that they seem to be physics, society and engineering based, and unavailable to get unless you study pre-FTL civilizations that do not have an awareness of the greater galactic community, or, in some way have not been corrupted by our great civilizations. While surveying the galaxy, if you discover a pre-FTL civilization world in any of the 10 technological ages, which they are spelling out here, so I was definitely wrong, we're not getting a new age. These ages are stone, bronze, iron, medieval, renaissance, steam, industrial, machine, atomic, and early space age. Those are exactly the same, so there are no changes coming to the ages' names. Maybe early space age has some new events though, maybe. Let's get on. Then the dev recommends claiming that system and building an observation post in orbit of the planet. That will add the module for the observation post in the observation section of the outliner. So we're going to get a new outliner section. And it's going to allow you to toggle between passive and aggressive observation. Now, I say we're getting a new section. Possibly this is just the same pop-up window we've always had for the observation posts down in the bottom left of our screen, but we'll have to see. There are also some brand new non-age related events that have a chance of firing in any technological age. But the dev is particularly hyped about these age-specific events which give you a chance to better understand or manipulate the pre-FTL civilizations within your borders. There is some cool content for players to sink their teeth into. One example of these new events is this event here, the Prosperity for All. life on Strom 2 is thriving. The booming economy offers us certain unique opportunities. However, in accordance with our current observation stance, we would have to take extra precautions to remain undetected by the wider population. We have a choice with but two options. Option the first, the lame option, stand down, we require nothing from them but research, or the cool option, a heist. You son of a bitch, I'm in.
You son of a bitch, I'm in.
So, when PDS Bojj became a developer on Stellaris, one of the first things that they noticed was the lack of options for committing an interplanetary train heist. Don't ask me why that's the first thing they noticed, but apparently it is. It's a fair observation. There is definitely a lack of interplanetary train heists. Well, that has now been fixed. If you're observing a civilization in their equivalent of steam, industrial, or machine ages, there is a chance they will construct a network of land freighters for transportation of cargo across their planet. What happens next is largely up to you, the player. But just to be clear, you can now officially commit an interplanetary train heist in Stellaris. The dev hopes we have fun playing through these events. It's been a lot of fun developing them, and they are so excited to see how we are going to receive them. And that is all from PDS Bojj for now. And if you're enjoying this video, please reach out and make first contact with that like button. Now we get to have a look at the new awareness mechanics that will dictate a lot of things to do with our interactions, but also the events that can fire for these pre-FTL civilizations. And hello again from Alfred. This section is all by Alfred Strike. As part of the First Contact story pack, we wanted, or the devs wanted, to make sure that interactions with pre-FTL civilizations were connected to all of the various systems that they were previously not a part of. As the game director mentioned a few weeks back, most of the previous functions of observation posts have been moved to overt diplomacy or covert espionage interactions with the civilization in question. A core part of how interactions with pre-FTL civilizations now function is something called awareness. Mechanically speaking, awareness is a country-level value that ranges from 0 to 100 in 5 distinct stages. At the very bottom of the scale at 0, the civilization is completely unaware, and then we have banding of 30 points apiece. Up to 30 is low awareness, 60 is partially aware, 99 is high awareness, so that's actually the smallest band, and finally at 100 we have fully aware. This can be influenced in a variety of ways and has the appropriate script triggers, effects, and values in the defines file for modders to make use of. And that is quite an important and exciting point to make. A lot of this new content is definitely designed, maybe not with modders in mind, but at least in such a way that modders can make use of it, interact with it, and make changes where required. So I think we're definitely in a very, very exciting time for Stellaris when it comes to mods. Mods are a massive part of the game for a large number of people. There are so many mods out there, and I'm very excited about what a lot of these new changes are going to mean, the possibilities for the mods we could be getting. Now, narratively speaking, awareness is a measure of not only the civilization's observation that something is out there, but them correctly attributing it to interstellar alien life. For example, a Renaissance era, or something akin to it, astronomer might observe your uncloaked observation post in orbit of their world, but they are unlikely to attribute its presence to an alien civilization. On the other hand, an early space-age civilization that has constructed a planetary array of radio telescopes will almost certainly attribute the light pollution and radio traffic from your colonies in their solar system to be evidence of alien life. And then Alfred gives us a fun little example. Here we have the primitive world of Deneb 2b. Remember, all roads lead to Deneb, but what they forget to mention is that also means all roads lead away. Now, here we have a planet cracker doing its thing, busting up a little moon or a planet or something like that, I'm not entirely sure, but after devastating Deneb 2a rather than Deneb 2b, that's the one with the primitives on, let's not let's not blow that one up. But after devastating 2A, the primitives increase their awareness level to high awareness. That does not mean they are fully aware. I'm going to have to assume that they are not at a high enough level of technological advancement to really comprehend, but they definitely know there's something amiss in the galaxy when a moon explodes. And what's really cool is that we have already been told that when things happen inside a solar system with primitives, not just cracking a planet like this is very, very obvious, but even something so much as a space battle on the other side of the system can have an impact on this pre-FTL civilization. Alfred wants us to know, though, that whilst there are no events directly triggered by a change in awareness of pre-FTL civilizations, which I think that's a bit of an own goal there, to be honest. I really do feel that we could have had a lot of fun by having some interesting just events that pop up that aren't different depending on the ethics. Yes, it would have taken a bit of writing, sure, but I mean, they have writing teams, right? But some events pop up when we change awareness level as things change on the planet. I mean, why granulate these awareness levels? Why give them individual names unless you're going to mark exactly, mark the changes or mark what happens when you pass a certain threshold? Having said that, they're now going to answer why they have different names, and that is that aside from reaching out to contact you if they become fully aware, awareness itself is used both to determine which events can fire while you're observing a pre-FTL civilization, and this awareness level can be influenced by the events themselves. So we have granularity, we have distinct awareness levels, or banding, whatever you want to call it, because that gives an easy shorthand for the player to know that, well, at this level, these types of events will fire. If you know the game really well. If you don't know, I mean, none of us will know what the events are going to be until we start playing and play through it a lot. It will still seem kind of random and magical. And for those of you that probably aren't going to play this extensively and exclusively, I mean, I know there are lots of people out there that like to play some games of Stellaris when the new DLC drops or an update drops, and then they stop playing. Some players are never really going to know exactly what it means to be at these different awareness levels, and I'm really confused by why they've given us such specific granularity. Okay, maybe it's just this is my issue, but let me know in the comments if you think that we should possibly have some events that fire or something happens when we go from, say, medium level awareness to high level awareness or something like that. Otherwise, kind of why have them? But anyway, in addition to the numerous events alluded to above, the devs have gone back and ensured that all of the existing observation events tie into the new system of first contact. For example, shooting down a rogue asteroid on course to impact a pre-FTL world may increase their awareness, because they may be saying, hey, why did that asteroid explode? What on earth's going on here? Who did that? Then, in order to engage with either diplomacy or espionage with pre-FTL civilizations, you will need to have an observation post in orbit of their homeworld, and the types of interactions your empire has access to is determined by your relevant policies on both interference and enlightenment. So, of course, if your enlightenment is set to can't do it, you won't be able to enlighten them, and if you are set to only passively observe, you won't be able to aggressively observe them. And if you're enjoying this video and you'd like to do something to support this channel and get your hands on some fantastic discounts, you can get Stellaris and almost all of the DLC on sale right now on Humble Bundle. Discounts range from 75% for the base game down to 20% for some of the newer DLCs, but mostly they are at about 50% off. By following the link down in the description and going to the Humble Bundle page, you'll be not only supporting charity and getting your hands on a fantastic deal, but also supporting this channel. Here we have one of the quote-unquote new screens for an observation post. Important to note here a couple of things. First off, the energy upkeep for this observation post I believe is much lower than it used to be. It's now only 1 energy. I think it used to be 5, or maybe that was just a very long past addition. Something else to notice is we have a button. So underneath the word passive observation, we have icons. Passive icon is highlighted in orange. Then in the middle there, we have the aggressive icon, or active. And then on the right, we have a brand new icon that none of us have seen before. I believe that icon might in fact be the cloaking button. So that icon there probably is a button where basically click it and you turn the cloak on, click it again, you turn the cloak off. Now the reason I say that, or the reason I believe that is, I mean, it kind of looks like a cloak, doesn't it? I don't think that is the uplift button or the enlightenment button, which we used to have. It also probably isn't the infiltration button. We also, in the middle of this image, we have that icon repeated and 5 different hexagons, elongated hexagons. They're not quite perfect hexagons really, are they? But 5 hexagons. None of those hexagons are currently lit up, and the button itself on the bottom right is not lit up. It's grayed out, so probably they don't have the technology yet to cloak. But what I'm thinking here is that we're going to get different levels of cloaking, and depending on your technological abilities, you'll be able to cloak your station better and better and better, or more and more. Before you reveal yourself to the primitives, in this case the Sathorians, you now have the opportunity to carry out a number of espionage operations. However, once they are fully aware of the existence of alien life, some of these operations will not be available to carry out. And we have a great screen, which is what you've been looking at this whole time. So, infiltrate government. I assume that's going to be something along the lines of the old infiltration we used to do. Possibly, though, that maybe gives us an asset now. Indoctrinate society. I will assume that moves them closer towards our ethics. Plant advanced knowledge. This is going to probably be a way of enlightening them, but secretly without increasing their awareness. Increase awareness, that's basically going, hello, we're here. And spread disinformation. Now that last one, maybe that's a way of knocking a pre-FTL civilization down, preventing them from progressing ahead into a future age. The various operations available to carry out against the unaware Sathorians are these ones though, and this is all thanks to having an observation post in orbit. We will still need to, it looks like, put an envoy in to increase our spy network level, which currently is 0. We need to get that up, and we need to get it to at least 10, and then we'll probably be able to do these missions. Now, it does look like that is all we have for missions, just these 5 operations. Looking at the image, the bottom there, I don't think we're going to see another one. It looks like it is the bottom of that, but it is, again, hard to say, and this might be a worked example that has since changed. After a pre-FTL civilization becomes fully aware of alien life, be it by their own observations or by a spacefaring empire revealing their presence, the observation post in orbit of their homeworld will then cease observation efforts and instead become repurposed as an embassy. And this is where I think the changes, the rework, gets rather interesting. As an embassy, on the other hand, it looks like we'll go from producing research to producing unity. This example here, we still seem to have the button, which I believe is for cloaking. I'm starting to get less sure of that now because it is still here for the observation post as an embassy, and why on earth would you want to cloak the embassy? That wouldn't make any sense. So maybe it's not for cloaking, though I really can't see what that icon is representing if it's not cloaking. But that aside, we're going to get unity when we make an embassy. One of the new additions to the list of pre-FTL civilization interactions is being able to form a commercial agreement with the pre-FTL civilization. This will have a minor upkeep in minerals for the Empire, but your observation post will generate some local trade value. So that might not really be worth it, especially if you need lots and lots of minerals. As a trade-based empire, getting your hands on additional energy credits or possibly unity and consumer goods, i.e. trade value, isn't always that worth it, especially if you're trading minerals for that, something you can't produce with trade value, though maybe sometimes it will be worth it. The benefits of such a partnership will scale with how advanced the civilization you're trading with is. So it might be useful to teach a Stone Age society what exactly economics is before you begin trading with them. You don't want to have a situation where you're just basically trading beads for nothing, especially if you can't get the land from them. Additionally, if a civilization is in the atomic or early space age, signing such agreements will allow megacorps to open branch offices on these pre-FTL worlds. Yes, you heard correctly. If you sign a commercial pact as a megacorp with an atomic or early space age empire, you will be given the option of putting a branch office down. That's really good. I don't know if you'll then be able to build a building with that branch office, but at least you'll lock in the branch office for future possibilities. No one else can put a branch office down there. You've kind of set that area up as your own personal domain. And here we have an example of one of these pre-FTL civilizations that we have now entered diplomacy with. They are full contact, but as you can see, they are suffering from this contact with a stellar culture shock modifier. That is giving them -100 to diplomatic acceptance, which is massive. That basically means you're not going to be able to get any treaty through while they're suffering stellar culture shock. It is recommended here you probably send an envoy to improve relations, or just do something. Now, if you look on the right, you will see we don't have the normal diplomatic interactions available. We have improve relations, build spy network, and harm relations. Those are all fine. We don't have offer trade deal or anything like that. And I believe that means we won't be able to butter up these pre-FTL primitives with a bunch of resources they can't really use, which is a darn shame. But we do have some interesting new additions. Yes, there's form commercial agreement, but then there's also offer societal enlightenment. Now that honestly sounds like the most dodgy possible pact you could have. Offer societal enlightenment. That is, basically, the moral high ground you as a species or civilization would have to take to turn up and go, hey, we're just fundamentally better than you. Would you like for us to make your society better like ours is better? You know, it's reeks of Western privilege. I'm just going to throw that out there. No offense. I find it hilarious, and I'll probably do it. I mean, of course I'm going to do it, but I just love how nice the term is. Societal enlightenment. Oh yes, don't worry. We're just helping. Yes. Your culture means nothing. Let's come in and bulldoze that away. And then we've got provide technology, which I assume will just bump them up in their FTL status or pre-FTL status. Now, these people are early space stage, so I'm going to guess there are different packs we can give depending on what age they're in. And additionally, I suspect some of this is based on our ethics. Possibly we're egalitarian and we think we're all goody-goody, and that's why we call it societal enlightenment rather than possibly calling it, I don't know, subjugation or something else like that, but I guess we'll just have to see when the time comes. Of course, all of these pre-FTL interactions would be nothing without an overbearing and bureaucratic diplomatic community sticking their unwanted alien olfactory glands into the mixture. There is now going to be legislation to decide how empires should interact with pre-FTL civilizations within their borders. This means we're going to be getting 3 Galactic Community resolutions that are mutually exclusive. The first of these, and the only one we actually get to look at, is the Equal Standing Act. This means the non-interference, aka Prime Directive, and aggressive interference policies are banned. It increases the effectiveness of the Provide Technology diplomatic agreement with pre-FTL civilizations. You'll need to actually reveal yourselves in order to be able to do that one though. And pre-FTL civilizations that become spacefaring through Provide Technology will gain +100 loyalty. Let me just put a pin in all of this and say that's a really important fact to note, because this means that now, when we do the Provide Technology, the Enlightenment, I say now, it's always been the case, but it will continue to be the case, that when you uplift through technological enlightenment and pre-FTL civilization, they will become a vassal. In this case, I assume they'll still be a protectorate, or whatever it is that gives the special bonuses to technology rate. And of course, they'll also be very, very loyal with you, their trusted overlord. Equal standing also makes commercial agreements with pre-FTL civilizations much more effective. The logic behind this policy is basically each pre-FTL civilization has the potential to acquire spaceflight and join the Galactic Community. As such, we must treat any future members with dignity and respect. Now, frankly, that is, from a logical perspective, absolutely correct. However, important note, potential to acquire spaceflight. Many of these pre-FTL civilizations will not survive the asteroids that hit their homeworld, or the possible nuclear apocalypses that happen during the atomic age, etc., etc. There's all manner of things that can happen to kill off a pre-FTL civilization, and therefore, possibly we shouldn't treat all of them with the same respect if they haven't passed any of the great filters that we have passed in order to get into Sapiens. Now again, very high horse you have to get on to agree with that opinion, but it's possibly an opinion you can put out there, and thus the Exploitation Act becomes completely morally acceptable, because of course they're not really people, they're not really a space age civilization or will never become one, because they'll probably die to atomic fires or asteroids or something like that. On the other hand, the most overbearing from a Galactic Community perspective is the Non-Interference Act, aka the Prime Directive. Seeing this in here gives me great hope. We're also going to have a Treaty of Algeron style law which may ban cloaking technology, aka this is basically the Star Trek expansion. I mean, this entire DLC, yeah, this one pretty much so far just screams Star Trek at so many different levels. I absolutely love it. I cannot wait to get my hands on Stellaris First Contact. One final thing to note about these resolutions that I'm showing off and still have on your screen for reasons unknown is that they are all mutually exclusive. So you can only have the Equal Standing Act or the Non-Interference Act or the Exploitation Act. Important thing to also note here is that they're purple. I believe this means that they'll fall under the purple category in the Galactic Community resolutions, whose name I suddenly forget, but it's where the greater good, all of the pop weight policies are, as well as the Galactic Community laws and all of that stuff. I think it's falling there. We don't get to see one level higher. I suspect that may mean that we are going to be getting more laws in there as well, or at least I'm hopeful. I love more Galactic Community resolutions. I think they're absolutely wonderful for an immersive gameplay experience. If you want to know more about the new Stellaris First Contact DLC and the very, very interesting new multi-species pre-FTL origin, crikey, that's a mouthful, but wow, there's a lot going on in that little construction of a sentence, then click the video on screen now.